Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Friends, gather round, feel the magic of the ground. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Last time. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the
Good morning. Welcome to this celebration of life. Friends, gather round. I am Beth Karow, and with Reverend Kevin Tarsa, we offer a warm welcome to those of you who have joined us here at UUCM in Grass Valley, California, and to you, wherever you may be, joining through the miracle of Zoom and later YouTube, welcome. Our congregation is spread out even further than usual this particular morning, since around 16 or so folks, happy campers, are gathered together at this very moment, worshiping in nature at the annual UUCM campout. That's kind of why I'm wearing what I'm wearing. Get it? Camping? Yeah, okay. Well, if all went as planned, they even began their service in the same way that we did here by singing the opening song. It's really fun to imagine them circled there in their campground, maybe around a campfire, much as we ourselves are gathered here now around ours. We gather wherever we are, bringing our love, our gratitude, our hearts, and our souls. And some objects. Was there something or some things on your seats? Stones, acorns, sticks, little bits of nature that we're going to be incorporating into our service later. Hold on to those, and don't worry if you don't have one of each. It'll all work out. But if you would, I think there's some extras in the back if you need some more. Zoom folks, with Eileen, hi Eileen, Hale, as your host. If you haven't done so already, you may want to have those objects nearby, as well as a piece of string or yarn, 6 to 12 inches or so. Our congregation, along with the wider community of UUs across the country, is in the midst of exploring the adoption of a new revised set of principles, renamed as values. They're up there. We've been including these 6 values with love always at the center throughout our Sunday summer services. And this week, we are camping out with interdependence. If you're new to UU, Unitarian Universalism in general, and or new to the Unitarian Universalist community of the mountains in particular, welcome. Or if this place is already a comfortingly familiar place to you, maybe even a home, welcome. From wherever we came and however we arrived and wherever we are, it's our hope that here, with these fellow humans in this space and at this time made sacred by our presence together, we feel the welcome of friendship and fellowship. That we find even a bit of what we are seeking, whether respite, hope, inspiration, community, connection, all or none of the above, or maybe something else entirely. I invite you now, though, to disconnect from the distraction of your electronics. Switch your devices to silent, and set down your backpacks full of burdens that might be pinching your shoulders. Both seen and unseen, those backpacks and burdens. You can pick them up again later when you leave, or you can leave them behind, but hopefully they'll be a little bit lighter when you do. Go ahead and release your shoulders. Breathe deeply. Feel the magic. Touch the ground.
And while we're feeling the magic, one of the ways we can be kind to each other is to make seats readily available to folks who might yet come in. So if you've got seats next to you, you can make an aisle seat available. I invite you to do that. One of the ways we can offer, be kind to each other. Yeah. Thank you. That's helpful. Yeah. So in preparation for our land acknowledgement, we invite you in the room, and maybe even you at home who might have them, to find the acorns on your seat and or the seats near you. So gather up all the acorns in your reach there that someone else around you needs one. Feel free to share. Gather up the acorns right now. Got them in hand?
Okay. If you don't have one to hold, whether you're in the building or you're on Zoom, you can just close your eyes and use your imagination to conjure one in your mind. So hold them. Take a good, close look at them. Feel their smoothness. Maybe smell them. Deeply notice these acorns. And imagine the mighty potential inside these seeds. There are at least 8 native oak species in this area, and the seeds of these trees, acorns, seem to be almost everywhere. So much so that we are often mostly unaware of their presence, except when we crunch on them in a walk, or we find them stuffed in odd places by industrious squirrels. Acorns were, and still are, a significant food source for the Nisenan people and for the birds and animals who also make this place their home. The land that we gather on today, and many of us live on, is the traditional homeland of the Nisenan people, and it was never given up. They are still here among us, though nearly invisible after generations of erasure. Now let us bless these acorns, imbue them with our gratitude. Gratitude for the mighty oak trees who weather the seasons year after year and continue to provide shade and sustenance to all who live amongst them. Gratitude for the Nisenan, whose long-time stewardship of this area and all the life it supports reminds us to be ever mindful of the earth we live upon and the inhabitants. Their resilience holds space for repair and for our widening understanding of interdependence. Now, who would be willing? I need a volunteer who is willing to gather up the acorns into this basket. Anyone? Thank you. Oh, Carol's got it. Thank you. So, Carol, just hold the basket and let people put it in there. Put them in. Thank you. And as they come by, you can add yours to the basket and go ahead and send with it any personal blessings you wish to make.
placing this basket of black oak acorns on our altar today, we remember to be mindful of who, squirrel, that is so true. With the placing and the dropping of these acorns, we remember to be mindful of who and what came before us, and that all land, wherever we are, is sacred. Blessed be. In preparation for the lighting of our chalice on this marvelous fire in the middle, we invite you to find the sticks on your seat, or the seats nearby, or the stick at home, and to hold them in your hands. Maybe you have a real one at home, or maybe you want to grab a wooden spoon, or a pencil, some other form of wood, some stick. I invite you to rise as you hold these for this meditation. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit as your body will allow and your spirit desires.
I invite you to imagine the trees that these twigs were once a part of. Each of these little branches were once an important part of a complex functioning network that together made a living tree, a source of shade, food, and habitat, as well as carbon dioxide absorbing. That's not the right word. Oxygen giving. There you go. The energy gathered and stored during the life of a tree is transformed in its death into other sorts of energy. Milled wood makes up our buildings, our shelters. Burned wood warms us, cooks our food, and brings light to the darkness. Each of these little sticks individually would not burn very strong or for very long, but gathered together and with what was laid before we came, we could probably get a good fire going. Of course, this is just a symbolic fire that I'm talking about. And I mention here that the word sacred and the word scared have the same letters. And it doesn't take too much to transform either into the other. So our fire today is sacred. I invite you to imagine for a minute the sticks in your hand or in your mind's eye as holding a bit of your own energy. What do you bring to build this fire of community, of sanctuary, of sacredness, of interdependence? I invite you to come forward now and add your kindling to our collective fire. If coming forward isn't, by yourself isn't an option for you, I bet you can find someone to bring your stick to our campfire. And if there's an empty one around you, go ahead and grab that one too, and we'll put all the sticks on the fire. And as you place your stick, feel free to name out silently or out loud what it is that you're bringing to this gathering of energy. One word, 2 words. What are you bringing today to this gathering of energy? And those of you on Zoom may wish to type a word or 2 into the chat box that encapsulates the energy that you share today with our community. And Eileen can unmute herself and name them out. Okay.
And just to let you know, it's okay to have creative chaos this morning.
Yeah.
We have creativity and communication, appreciation, guidance, hope, nature, relaxation, exploration,
Thank you. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Bring your love, bring your gratitude, bring your heart and your soul. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. Friends, gather round, feel the magic, touch the ground. With these sticks, we each help to create a fire in which all our contributions, no matter what size and shape, help to bring light, warmth, and power to our community and to the world. I invite you to join me in a response. It's a repeated chant from you. It will be, blessed is the fire. Blessed is the fire. If you're a kinesthetic person and want to make some fire as you say that, feel free. Blessed is the fire. Blessed is the fire. Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. Blessed is the fire. Just blessed is the fire. It is the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. Blessed is the fire. It is the fire of reason. Blessed is the fire of compassion. Blessed is the fire of community. Blessed is the fire of justice. Blessed is the fire of faith. Blessed is the fire. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart. Blessed is the fire, the divine glow in every life. Blessed is the fire. 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 It's just like camping. Thank you, Beth. Ah. It's the magic of Beth Karow. We invite you at home to light your chalice, wherever you are.
How Spider-Woman created the world. There are many stories about how the world was created, stories that range from scientific accounts to mythology. I want to tell you a myth. It won't tell you what happened, but it might tell you about how to live in this wonderful world. For that is why people tell myths. Way, way back, a long time ago, before there was a universe, Spider-Woman was wandering up and down, looking for something. She was lonely and wanted company, but there was no company, for she was alone. All there was, all that she could find, was a huge mountain. Some say this was Banner Mountain or Mount Hood. Others think it was a mountain in the Black Hills. Some say it was Mount Zion, or maybe it was in the Himalayas, Tibet, or Mount Kilimanjaro. It doesn't matter what mountain it was. She went up on this mountain and sat down to think. Suddenly, she had an idea. One thing everyone knows about Spider-Woman is that she is the weaver. And so she decided to set up her loom on top of the mountain. She strung up the yarn for the warp, and it took her a long time, for she wanted this weaving to be something special and very long and beautiful. And when she got this loom set up, she took up her shuttle and began to weave. And as she wove, something amazing happened. Every time one thread crossed another, a star appeared. And before long, she had woven thousands and thousands of stars into her weaving. And each one was tied to every other one in the web. Then she stopped and looked at it. It shone and sparkled, and it was very beautiful. But it was not quite what she wanted. So she decided she would do a little bit more with this web of stars. She chose one star that happened to have some planets circling around it. And as she chose one of those planets, it had bright blue oceans and sparkling white clouds. And she set up her loom again, right there on that planet. And she began to weave again. This time, as she wove, whenever one thread crossed another, a living thing appeared. She wove roses and pansies and carnations into this world. She wove fruit trees and nut trees and oak trees and redwood trees. She wove all manner of birds and fish and insects into her web. She wove deer and buffalo and coyotes into it, and all of the animals. And every one of these living things was connected to each other in her weaving. Then she stopped weaving and she looked at it. It was very beautiful and very full, yet it was still not finished. There was still something missing, so she started to weave yet a third time. This time, when she wove, the crossing threads created human beings. Oh, Christy, I love you. Oh. Peanut Gallery, our very own UUCM Peanut Gallery. Men and women and children, all of us, and each human being that she wove into her great web was connected to every other thing, the other animals, to the plants and trees and flowers, to the mountains and seas and deserts, even to the distant stars. Every human being, and indeed everything that Spider-Woman wove into her great web, is connected to every other thing. And it is all beautiful and sacred. And you know, because every day someone is born, and every day a new flower opens somewhere, and a tree sprouts, and a new animal is born, Spider-Woman must still be weaving.
We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow, we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb, we are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers, we are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers, we are the web. I invite us to sing our youngest participants today who want to join Kids Connection upstairs, to sing them on their way with We Are the Weavers, knowing that they are very much woven in here. We're the flow. We are the flow. And young people may go to Kids Connection, which is this way. Anyone who wants. We are the web. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers. We are the last time. We are the flow and we are the ebb. We are the weavers. We are the web. In preparation for our honoring of joys and sorrows, we invite you to find the stones on your seat or on the seats near you, or the stone at home, or the stone in your mind, to hold them in your hands.
Again, I'm going to invite you to deeply notice this unique stone. Some of these stones have been recently brought in by some of us. Some have been in this building for a long time. They were here when I got here, and that was a long time ago. But all of these stones have actually been here, and I mean here on Earth, for a really long time. Let's take a moment to attempt to fathom what kind of journey these rocks have made to be here in this place, in these hands. Not that they have eyes, of course, but I think we could say that these rocks have seen some stuff long before they even arrived in our building. And then, week after week, these stones are held as placeholders for what we each carry in our minds and our hearts. And they're brought and placed into the bowl of water in our ritual of joys and sorrows. I invite you now, though, to notice how the rocks endure. That though they have each helped to give weight to countless joys and sorrows, cares and concerns, trials and triumphs, they remain steadfast, strong, solid. They were here before us, and they will be here long after we are gone. I'll pass this basket now and collect the stones in preparation for our ritual of joys and sorrows. Okay, we'll pass a couple baskets.
May these stones, already abundantly blessed by so many joys and sorrows, serve as both symbols and embodiments of resilience. And may they be reminders of what it means to hold and let go, hold and let go, hold and let go. Blessed be. Shanti and Linda often place tall or special candles on the altar. Those are meant to honor some of those larger things that we are collectively thinking about caring. I invite you to name some of those out loud, those large things in the world that probably many of us are holding today. What would those be for you? Fire, near and far, Canada, Maui, nearby. Hurricane, reaching even to our skies this morning. Safe crossing for animals. Fascism. Immigrants, war. Ukraine. Remorse. Hunger. Haiti. Homelessness. Racism. Homophobia, child abuse. And some of the joys that you hold, that we collectively hold. Family. Clouds. Gardens. School is in. says mom. The river. grandchildren. Thank you. Sorry? Friends. Amen, friends. Last Sunday I offered Thich Nhat Hanh's invitation to cradle our suffering tenderly, to notice and cradle that suffering with care. It's also an invitation always to cradle our joy as well. In fact, to cradle whatever we're carrying in heart and mind. In this weekly ritual, for those who are new, I invite you to take a stone, if you wish, from the basket and to place it in the bowl of water. The stone, a symbol of what you particularly carry in your heart this morning. The bowl of water, a symbol of all that holds us, including this community, but also the much larger ways we are held in this life. If you're at home, I invite you to type in the chat some of what you carry in your heart today, if you wish. In the music and the quiet, I invite us to hold each other through this entire time. Many of you have named for me. Many of you have named for me that nature is a primary source for your spiritual and emotional grounding. The environment in which you feel most at home, most open, most fed, most deeply connected. This is true for me as well. And for many human beings, otherwise rooted in the range of religious traditions people have manifested over the centuries. couple of years ago, I had a profound experience, a profound and moving experience of singing with the Yuba River. I was hiking at Bridgeport on the Point Defiance Loop Trail, where the waters of the South Fork of the Yuba River were rippling and gurgling easy around a gentle bend. I was moved to just sit down in the sand and, without thinking at all really, to start singing. Om Shanti Om Om Shanti Om Om Shanti Om Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om Shanti Om. After a minute or so of singing, I realized with surprise that I was not singing at the river, not singing by the river, not singing to the river, not singing at the same time as the river, though all of those were also true. In that moment, I was singing with the river in a completely mutual shared song. It wasn't happening merely through the words or the sounds the river and I were each voicing. It was something much deeper and much less containable than that. One of those experiences of transcendent oneness. The river and I were singing together. The feeling was so true, so clear, so wonderful that I didn't want to stop chanting for fear of losing the connection. So I sang for about 20, 25 minutes before I was ready to let my singing move into silence and the sound of the river. All the while feeling more completely and deeply interfused with life, with the earth, with all that life holds than perhaps at any other time in my more than half century of living. Singing with the river that day moved my intellectual awareness of my interconnectedness with all that is, from my head down into my throat, into my lungs, into my heart, into my entire being. It moved that day another level down from being an idea to being a wordless and transformative knowing. Wise people from around the globe plead with us to remember that we are not on the earth, but of the earth. That we didn't come into this world, but rather we came out of it. That our off-the-mark perception of spending time in nature gets in the way of realizing and remembering that we are of nature, and therefore cannot ever be anything but in and of nature. For our time of meditation and of prayer this morning, I invite you to enter your meditating, your mindfulness, your praying, to engage whatever you use for focusing your attention. To draw upon this moment, to do it with the river for a few minutes. I invite you, if it serves and it's available to you in this technology, to be present not merely at the same time as the river, but with the river, with whatever gratitude, hurt, anticipation, joy, love, sadness, worry, delight that you hold in your heart this morning and are in a place to be able to feel. I invite you into a shared time of meditation, of reflection, of prayer, of mindfulness. We who join ourselves together as members of the Unitarian Universalist Association are considering naming our commitment this way. We honor the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. That's the familiar language from our 7 principles. But this time it goes on. With humility and reverence, we covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation, creating and nurturing sustainable relationships, relationships of repair, mutuality, and justice. With humility and reverence, we covenant, we promise to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation, creating and nurturing sustainable relationships of repair, mutuality, and justice. So may we be.
So we're going to be passing a ball of yarn around because it's not strange enough. I'm going to invite you to leave some slack and then gently wrap a loose loop around your wrist. Or if that's not comfortable for you, you can just hold on to the yarn. And we'll keep passing until we're all connected. And as you leave it, leave a loop in the aisleway in case somebody needs to get in or out. And we'll pass it around the circle. I'll start with me, and then we'll pass around all the way until it gets back to me, and then it'll go behind me. And we'll do that until we're all wrapped up. And Kevin's going to stay unlooped to help as needed. We already anticipated that. It's all worked in. Okay. Yeah, that's it.
invite you in this kind of slightly awkward place to consider for a moment to whom and to what you are connected. With whom are you interdependent? Starting, of course, with the folks you know and love, but if you reach farther than that, who are you actually connected to that you don't often think about? Or maybe not even realize that you are connected, when in truth, our lives are interwoven. So who and what comes to mind for you as you're there with this orange string?
As we're finishing our weaving, I just would like to say thank you for indulging me. I first learned of this ritual of weaving together with the string about 30 years ago when my friends and I started having our babies. I was living in Santa Cruz. It was a tradition probably started by the home birth midwives, that instead of the mainstream, consumer-rich, infant-focused baby showers, we'd have a blessing way ceremony, adopted from the original tradition of the Navajo. It was full of songs, stories, and rituals, all designed to help mark the transition and bless the journey into motherhood. This cord wrapping was symbolic of the web we weave, the network of support of those who walk our paths with us, those whom we can call upon for support. After we cut the cord, we tied our pieces around our wrists where they served as a reminder of our friend who was soon to give birth. When the baby was born, the bracelets came off, and the strings could be buried, composted, tossed. I usually let mine fall away naturally, and I would say a little prayer for mama and baby whenever I noticed that cord around my wrist. It's a good reminder. So we'll pass scissors around now, and I invite us each to cut each other's cord, and then take turns tying them for each other if it feels right to you. And you can keep it on as long as you like. and let it serve as a reminder of all the ways that we are connected. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
This is the most elaborate wrapping I've ever seen for this kind of ritual. And we have a web that matches. We have a web that matches kind of the randomness, sort of the actual web. What did you do at UU today?
We'll let you finish as it goes around. Make sure you help each other. It's a lot easier to tie a knot for somebody than trying to do it yourself.
Or a bow.
Or those of you who love a challenge can do it yourself. There are myriad ways that we as a community contribute to creating a world more compassionate, sustainable, and just. One of the most fundamental is through the financial support of our church, which is fully funded internally through pledges, endowments, and this, our weekly collection. But our money doesn't just stay here. Each month, we donate at least 25% of our offering to community partners, nonprofits whose missions and values align with ours. It's fitting that as we speak about interdependence, our partner this month is Animal Place in Grass Valley, whose mission is to provide refuge and support for unwanted farm animals, fostering ethics of compassion and responsibility toward non-human animals. This seems a fitting way for us to live into the new wording of our values. We honor the independent web of all existence of which we are a part. With humility and reverence, we covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation, creating and nurturing sustainable relationships of repair, mutuality, and justice. If you're here in person and would like 100% of your gift to go to Animal Place, please place it in the envelope as the basket is passed. And if you are with us by Zoom, please see the next slide for other ways to give. Your giving is vital to our ability to sustain the work of our community, and I thank you for your generosity. Abundance overflows. May these gifts be a blessing as we walk the path of interdependence together with all beings. Blessed be.
Thank you to Beth, and thank you to everyone who's been part of helping this morning happen in out of the ordinary settings this morning. I am thoughtful about the way this morning had that feel of a campout in terms of you kind of go with the flow, right, as things happen. Thank you for that. Instead of a closing song, I'm actually going to invite us to do some closing breathing for a moment. I should do announcements first before we breathe together. So thank you to everyone. A couple things that would be helpful to know about coming up. Next Sunday, we're starting at a different time. We're going to start at 11 o'clock so that people can participate in the Love Walk downtown, which starts at 10. It's a little speaking at the beginning and then a love walk, and usually the walk is done by then. So I'll be there at 10. The building will be open and ready at 10:30 for those who come anyway. But just mark that and we'll help communicate that this week. So next week at 11, Love Walk at 10. The State Planning Workshop on September 9th, mark your calendar. That's a really good chance to ask your questions about those things that are on your mind about that estate planning. Have the evening of that same day on your calendar, please, for learning about the Andu St. Fort family and how we might support them. As always, look at the website. And now I invite us to some closing breathing. I invite you to let your body relax for just a second. Let's take some breaths in, breathing actually together. So a breath in and out. And in and out. And in and out. The words we'll close with are almost always attributed to Chief Seattle, as his name has been mispronounced because it's difficult for people of non-native origin to pronounce the Lushootseed pronunciation of his name. And though he was, by many accounts, a great speaker, these words were, in fact, penned by a screenwriter in 1971 for a film about ecology. We offer them this morning thoughtful yes about the abundance of misinformation in the world and also recognizing the truths held within them, independent of their origin.
This we know, the earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth.
This we know, all things are connected like the blood which unites one family.
All things are connected.
Whatever befalls the earth befalls the children of the earth.
We did not weave the web of life. We are merely a strand in it.
Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. And knowing that, I invite us to rise in body or in spirit as we're willing and able to share this benediction, this way we try to, with words, remind ourselves that we are in fact bound to one another, even when we're not together. So as we part from this place, let us together carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. If you're here in the building, please join us for refreshments down the hall, and otherwise we'll see you next week at 11 o'clock.